So happy Mother's Day to any moms that are joining today. If you have a towel or a pillow, even a yoga bolster like what I'm sitting on, you can grab one of those. Just take a couple of moments. I won't start right away. And just grab that. With the towel, you just want to roll it up into a tube, and you're going to be laying over top of that. So just go ahead and grab that. And today's class is mostly going to be twists, standing twists, seated twists, and a few other things. So we've done a little bit of core work, and we're going to go back to that a little bit. So we started off with like a core strength class for the very first class. So this class is kind of similar, but it's more focusing on twists and upper body movement. And you'll find with twisting, it actually makes you open up your chest and stay open up here, which a lot of us cyclists aren't very open. So it's just a good practice to do for overall body strength and openness and balance. Okay, so once you have your towel or pillow, just place it on your mat lengthwise, and you're just gonna lay over top of it. So sitting in front of it, just like this, I'm just gonna move my towel a little bit so I can fit. You're just gonna sit in front and then lay over top so that your spine is right down the middle of whatever you're lying on. So if I'm out of the shot here, I apologize. You're just laying over top of your towel, your hands out to the side. Take up as much space as you like with your hands. Make sure that your palms are facing up. And then one more little adjustment. Just tuck your chin and try to lengthen out the back of your neck. We spend quite a bit of time on the bike with the back of our neck kind of bent like this, with the chin kind of forced forward. So just try to lengthen out the back of your neck. You can grab the back of your head and just gently lengthen out. So your chin is kind of tucked downward. All right, and if you like, you can close your eyes. And we're just going to take a few deep breaths. It's nice and simple, nothing too complex, just slowly breathing in and back out. And just try and keep your breath in your nose. So just breathing in and out through your nose. As you breathe in, gradually try and draw your breath down towards the belly. And just gently letting your breath go. So these last few breaths, as you breathe down into the belly, feel that gentle lift of the belly and of your chest. And as you exhale, exhale as slowly as you can. Now start to imagine your breath reaching down through your legs as you inhale, all the way to your toes. And as you exhale, it's almost like the whole body is exhaling. Inhale through the whole body again. And exhale. All right, so one more deep breath, filling your whole body. And relax your breath, exhale. All right, so if your eyes were closed, you can open your eyes. And then we're just gonna bend your knees. Take your knees to, or your feet, sorry, to just about the width of your mat. And just a soft bend in your knees. And I'm just gonna take my knees from side to side. Just loosening up the low back. All right. I feel a little stiff this morning, so my knees don't always reach all the way down to the floor, but if you can, just go ahead and twist over to the side. Each side, just at your own pace. All right, couple more times. My coach is kind of in the way here. All right, and then slowly come up to a seated position. So to do that, you can just roll off your bolster if you have a big bolster like me, and just push yourself up. All right, we can get rid of the towel or pillow, whatever you have. All right, and then we're just gonna do some simple seated twists just to warm up a little bit farther. All right, so sitting up nice and tall. Some of you, again, you might feel a little tight, so feel free to sit on your bolster or your towel just to lift your spine. You don't want to have your spine curled this way. Just make sure that you can sit so that the spine is lifted, the shoulders are stacked right over top of the hips. All right, as you inhale, lift up to your arms. And as you exhale, take your right hand behind you, left hand in front, out to the side. Inhaling up, and over to the other side. Inhaling. And again, if my breaths are too deep or too shallow, you can move at your own pace. And again, just check in with your spine, make sure that you're nice and lifted. Just one more time, each side. All right. So after you exhale over to the left side, you can inhale, come forward, and then just hinge forward from your hips. Now, some of you might be able to fold right in half. I don't have the most flexible hips, to be honest. So if you can actually bring yourself all the way forward, with no problems, go for it. Just make sure that you don't have any strain in your knees or ankles. Keep your feet flexed and just rest your hands forward. Some of you maybe can't go this far either. Just do what you can do comfortably. All right, and then with every exhalation, you can soften a little bit farther forward if you feel that's possible. All right, next inhalation, just come all the way back up, and then we're just gonna come to standing. So the last 3 classes, I think we did some sun salutations, so we're just gonna go ahead and warm up with Surya Namaskar A. So standing in mountain pose, right at the top of your mat, your feet right underneath the hips, about a fist distance in between your toes. Inhale, reach up to your arms. As you exhale, hinge forward. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, come all the way back. And we're just gonna hold plank here for a couple of seconds. A little bit different than we've done before. And then all the way back to downward facing dog. And again, in downward dog, you can bend your knees a little, reach back through your hands, press back into your hands, and lift your tailbone. Nice long spine. All right, and then looking forward, you can step all the way up to the top of your mat, lengthen your spine, and then exhale, hinge forward. Inhale, reach up to your arms. Exhale. Good, just come all the way forward. Inhale, halfway, lengthen your spine. Good, exhale, come all the way down, come to plank pose. Hold for a couple of seconds, reach back through your heels. Make sure your hips are at about the same height as your shoulders. And then back to downward facing dog. Just a couple of seconds. Try to take some weight back into your heels. If you can, if you've got straight legs. If not, just pressing back through your hands, reach your hips back. And just look forward. You can step all the way up. Inhale. Exhale down, folding forward. Again, you can have soft knees. Inhale, reach up. And we'll just come right back down. Let's exhale. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, come back to plank pose. So Wilfred is making this nice and challenging for me. Just a couple of seconds here. All right, and then back to downward facing dog. You can adjust your feet as you need to. Your feet should be about hip distance apart, and your hands no wider than shoulder distance apart. A little adjustment you should always make is to press your pointer finger side of your hands down into the mat. They like to get light, but keep the pointer fingers pressing down. All right, and then just step forward, lengthen out. And exhale, hinge forward. Inhale, reaching up. And back to just a standing position. All right. So from here, we're going to do a nice low lunge. Okay, so we're going to take your left foot back, your right foot stays forward. So I'm just coming into a forward bend and just shooting the left foot back. So this is a nice low lunge. So I'm up on the fingertips. You can have maybe some books or blocks stacked under your hands if you like. We'll just hold that for a little bit. So we're working on twists today. So now I'm just going to take my left hand, place it down on the mat or some books, and then I'm lifting the right shoulder. To reach up to your right hand, you want to feel as though somebody's pulling gently on that right arm and lifting you up. Good. Just remember to keep some weight in your left foot in the back and spread the weight out between the three limbs on the mat. Good. You can untwist. Good. You're back into that nice low lunge. Now I'm going to take my left foot, angle it so it's down on the mat. Okay? My left hand now is just going to pull me up into warrior two. Okay, so kind of a fancy move. Just check in with your feet. Make sure that the front heel lines up with the arch of the back foot. Shoulders over hips and stretching out. Now just take your chin and line it up over top of where your middle finger is. So your chin is just pointing towards that middle finger on the right. Good, and now we're just gonna twist the upper body. So what I'm gonna do is just kind of like a helicopter. I'm gonna twist towards the right. Good. And try and reach my right hand towards the back leg. So of course I can't twist quite that far, but that's the movement. One more breath in. And then as you exhale, twist to the other side. So I'm reaching my left arm as far back as possible. All right, good. Just come back to warrior two. And we're just going to come back to that nice low lunge. Take a bit of weight off of your right foot. Good. All right, now just step forward. Come all the way forward into that nice forward fold. You can soften your knees if you need to. And just switching over to the other side right away. Take your right foot back. So you're in a nice high lunge. Good, now just take a second here. Hug your left hip inward. Press back through your back heel. And then press down into your right hand. Twist open your chest to the left. Reach up through your left hand. And just hold the twist there. Now as you're twisting, feel your chest opening up. You'll notice it's really hard to twist if you've got this curve in your upper spine. There's no movement there. So really work on lifting the chest and letting the spine twist open right in the middle, the mid-spine, thoracic spine. All right, just untwist. Okay, now warrior two on the other side. The right foot angles down and plants the heel down. Good, the right hand just pulls you up. Shoulders over hips. Good, and I'm just adjusting my front foot so the heel lines up with the arch of the back foot. Just gaze out over the left fingers. Good, just making sure that the back shoulder doesn't roll forward. Just begin to twist to the left now. Good, I'm going to try and take my left hand as far backward as I can. One more breath in and out, and then twisting to the other side. All right, and then just coming to that low lunge. Good. All right, so instead of coming right to the top of the mat, just come down to downward dog. So pull your foot back and hold it here. So right from your pinky fingers, up through your arms, down through the sides of the body, and into the hips. You've got a nice long stretch. So if your knees are bent, try to reach your heels towards the mat as much as you can. All right, just look forward, and you can step your feet forward all the way to the top of the mat and slowly come up to standing. All right, okay. So from the top of your mat, you can stay where you are. I'm just going to face you so that you can see what I'm doing. So you might have my head kind of hidden in this pose, so I might just come back to about here. I apologize if you can't quite see me. What I'm doing is just taking the arms straight up overhead and grabbing a hold of the right wrist. And then nice and strong, you're just going to pull up and then lean over to the left side. So we'll be moving in the opposite direction. So what this is doing is it's strengthening and toning down the side abdominal wall. Just make sure if you're bending over to your left, make sure you ground down through your right foot. And make sure that the chest doesn't cave inward as well. Just try and keep your chest lifted. You can even start to turn your chest up towards the ceiling. And don't hold your breath. On your next inhale, just lift up. Relax your hands back to Tadasana. Take a second, breathing in and back out. Good. Reach up through your arms, grab a hold of the left wrist, pull up. And as you exhale, lean over to the right. And again, we're moving in opposite directions, but we're on the same side. Same team. Good, so if you're leaning over to your right, press your left foot down into the mat or the floor. And then just slowly start to turn your chest up towards the ceiling. You can even look upward, kind of coaxes your chest up. And try to breathe into that nice open space here in the ribs. One more breath in and breath out. Relax your hands. Come back to just a standing position. Okay, so you're at the top of your mat. All right, so what we're gonna do is just Utkatasana. This is kind of translates into like awkward pose, which it is. So your feet are about hip distance apart, and you're just going to bend at the hips, just like you're about to sit down into a stool. When you look down at your feet, you should be able to see your toes. The toes part of your foot will feel like it's getting quite light, and that's good. So keep that feeling there, and then lift your chest, reach up through your arms. So the arms come alongside the ears, and hold that there. So just 2 breaths here. Really try to stick your butt out in this pose and keep nice length in the spine. On your next exhalation, just bring your hands together in prayer pose. And you're going to twist to the right. So I'll just show you. You're actually going to hook your right elbow or left elbow. Hook your left elbow on the outside edge of your right knee. There you go. As you press into your hands, you can use that as leverage to twist your chest to the right. So don't worry too much if your legs are getting sore. You're a cyclist, so you can handle it. Inhale, come to the front, reach up to your arms, hold it there. Just smile, relax your face. Hands come together into prayer pose. Hook your right elbow over top of your left knee. Press into your hands, and your chest slowly rotates to the left. Try to keep your knees as square to the front as you can. Good, rotate to the front, and then just release, come into a forward fold. Whew. Good. You can soften your knees if you like. All right, slowly coming back up to a standing position. Good, all right. Okay, inhale, reach up to your arms. Exhale, come back into Utkatasana. Hands come together. Rotate yourself over to the right. Hook your left elbow over top of your right knee. And hold that there. Good, untwist, bring your hands to the mat and step your left foot back. So you're in a low lunge. Now really spread the weight out between the 2 feet here. Bring your feet so that they feel like they're on train tracks, not a tightrope, okay? So your balance will be quite a bit easier. Lift your chest, hook your left elbow over the right knee. Bring your hands together again. Press into your hands, rotate your chest to the right. Remember, lift your chest. Don't let your chest cave in. Good, untwist. The hands come down and come back to downward facing dog. All right, bring your shoulders over top of your wrists so that you're in plank pose. 2 to 3 breaths here. Lift your navel to the low spine. Reach back through your heels. All right, and again, back to downward dog. Look forward and you can step or maybe hop all the way forward. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, hinge forward. Good. Inhale, reach all the way up. Exhale, come back to Utkatasana. Good. Bring your hands together. Rotate to the left this time. Right elbow hooks over the left knee. As you press into your hands, the chest moves to the left. Just one more breath. Good. And then unhook your elbow back to low lunge. The right foot moves back. Feet are on what feels like train tracks. Good. So just preparing, lift your chest, lengthen out through the spine. Lots of length. No crouching down like this. Lengthen out, lift like there's a string, pull in your chest, and then hook your right elbow over the left knee. Sometimes just a forearm will reach, that's fine. And you're in that nice twist, the revolved side angle. To take the twist farther, you can look up to the ceiling if you like. Good. Unhook, just come to low lunge. And then back to downward facing dog. So feet about hip distance, Hands no wider than shoulder distance. And then again, just come into plank pose. Shoulders right over wrists. Press the pointer finger side of the hand down. Reach back through the heels. And then back to downward dog, look forward. And you can step or hop up all the way to the top. Lengthen out, inhale. Exhale, come back down. Good, slowly come back up to standing. Whew. Good. All right, so we'll do one more variation of Utkatasana, or awkward pose. So this one involves a little bit of balancing. So I'm just going to show you by facing forward here. Hopefully you can see me okay. You might have my head cut off a little bit. So I'm just going to start by having the right leg as the standing leg, okay? So as you come into the squat here, you're just going to let your left leg get a little bit light, and then you can actually cross that foot over top, just like you were sitting in a chair with your legs crossed. All right? Good. Make sure that your knee feels okay. Keep your foot flexed, and then your hands can just come in front. So again, I don't have a lot of external rotation in my hips. So if I had a model here to show you, it would look a little bit better. Just hold that a couple more breaths. And then back up, just simply release the pose. Back to Tadasana. All right, Utkatasana, bend down into that just about squat position. Let your right foot get a little bit lighter. You can always have your hand on a stool or a chair for support if you like. You don't have to do this totally balanced. Good, I'm just trying to release my right knee down as much as I can. Keep that nice bend in your left knee, and your hands can come up if you like. Again, sometimes just resting your hand on a wall can be really nice as well. And one more breath in. And exhale, just release it. Good. All right. Okay, so now we're coming to the Malasana squat. So I'm going to take my feet quite wide. I think you can see me here. And my feet are, like my heels are just slightly wider than hip distance. My toes are angled out about 45 degrees. Then I'm just going to simply squat as far down as I can. And then your elbows can hook on the inside edge of your knees. So again, not everybody can go this low, that's okay. Come down as far as you can. Sometimes ankles don't like being bent to this degree, so you can have maybe some books under your heels if you need to. Just play around with it, do what you can do. You can skip poses that just feel awful too. Good, just a couple of breaths. Feel your low back really release here. Good, and then the floor is right there. You can just come right down to a seated position. Okay, so Wilfred, I'm just gonna get you to scooch over. We're gonna come to pigeon pose. So make sure you have a towel or one of these pillows or bolsters handy. I'm just gonna have this just on the side here. So just so you can see, we'll start with the left side. So come to just all fours. And you'll take your left knee forward in between your hands, okay? Hopefully you can see this okay. I'm gonna walk my right knee back. Then the bolster is just gonna sneak underneath my left hip. So again, I'm really quite tight. Some of you might be able to actually take your hip right down onto the mat without feeling anything in your knees or ankles. If you can, do that. If you're like me, you're quite tight in your hips, just a nice pillow or a towel is quite nice. Now I'm going to take my left foot and try and bring it a little farther over to the right. Sometimes you can actually take your shin parallel to like the clavicle, which I can't do, but if you can, go right ahead. I'm just gonna hold this here. You should feel a stretch just right along the side of your hip here, gluteus medius. Some people feel a stretch in their adductors as well, the inside edge of the leg. If you're quite comfortable, you can even come down onto your elbows and hold that here. All right, now for some of you that are quite flexible, we're just gonna come back to your hands and just try to walk your back knee back a little bit farther and lift your back toes. Your right toes point up towards the ceiling. What you don't want to have is for your hips to really lift up as you do that. If they do, just kind of reach your knee backwards a little bit more. Take your left hand kind of in the center. The right hand reaches back and just grabs a hold of the ankle. Now just make sure that you try and square your hips to the front as you pull that foot towards your hips. So again, don't stretch this way. Don't lift that back foot if it's putting a lot of strain on your knee or if your hips all of a sudden lift up. All right, do what you can do. Skip things that just don't feel good or work. All right, just release that and we'll come back to downward dog. Now just shift your pillow or blanket out of the way. This is going to be a different kind of downward facing dog. We haven't done this yet. So as you come back, the feet are about hip distance apart. This time, take the right hand into the center of the mat. The left hand, now again, you can bend your knees a little. The left hand is going to move onto the outside edge of the right ankle. So you've got a little bit of a twist in your mid-spine. You can look up underneath your armpit on the right. Try to press back through that right hand. One breath and just release. Good. Now take your right knee forward. We'll do pigeon pose on the other side. So just grab a hold of your blanket or towel or a pillow. And I'm just going to scooch Wilfred over just a little bit. There we go. All right. So this is where you can really see how I move that back knee back. I'm just going to tuck my toes under and just reach my knee back an inch or so. Good. I've got the hips squared to the front. They're not, maybe not resting on the floor, but they're squared to the front. The chest is squared to the front, and I'm just going to hold this here. So you can see from here, you can also increase your stretch by just taking your right foot a little bit higher up. I don't really need to do that because I can really feel the stretch, but if you need it, go ahead. So again, you shouldn't feel any strain in your front knee or ankle at all. Make any adjustments you need to avoid that. And again, you can come right down onto your elbows if you're feeling comfortable. Okay, now you can stay here, or if you need a little bit more challenge, just tuck your back toes, walk your back knee back another inch, and then lift those toes up off the floor. Good, try to make sure that your hips don't lift along with your foot. Good. This time the right hand comes in the middle, the left hand reaches back, grabs a hold of the ankle. Try to square your shoulders back to the front and keep the hips nice and square. Don't let your knee flare out to the side, all right? So you'll notice I'm up on the fingertips of my front hand. You can do that too if you like. And of course, just pulling that foot forward until you feel a medium intensity stretch. So nothing too intense, but you also, you want to feel something. Good, just release that. Back to twisted downward dog. So just lift yourself up, take yourself back. This time the left hand goes in the middle of the mat. Feet about hip distance apart, just a little bit of softness in your knees. Reach your right hand on the outside edge of the left ankle and use that right hand as leverage, kind of pull your chest so it rotates gently. Press it back through your left hand. So you've got a nice twist in your mid-spine. So it's not easy to do. Right, just release. Good. Back to downward dog, just hold for a couple breaths. All right, now you can just move your pillow or blanket out of the way. We'll come to seated, and we'll do just a seated twist or two. Okay, so let's just bend your right knee. Just comfortably in. Again, you can have a blanket or bolster under your hips. I'll just show you. Just to keep your spine lifted, the shoulders stacked right over top of the hips, okay? Avoid any kind of caving in the chest. Roll the shoulder blades back. Just like there's a string on the sternum, somebody's pulling upward. Good. So I'm going to take my left hand, hug that elbow around the knee. The right hand comes back. So you can lean on that hand in the back. As you inhale, lift your spine. As you exhale, use your left arm and gently pull yourself to a twist. Your neck should stay quite loose. Don't lead the twist with your neck. The very last movement is just gently look over top of your right shoulder. No strain. Make sure that your left leg, the one that's straight, is nice and strong. It anchors you into the twist. Good. Just release. Stretch both legs straight. Bend your left leg. The same thing again. I'm just going to hug my knee in. You can use your hand or your elbow. The left hand comes behind. Inhale, lengthen out. As you exhale, use your right arm and gently twist to the left. Again, just make sure your neck stays nice and loose. Just gently looking over the left shoulder. Now just check in with the base of your pose. The right leg is strong, pressing down into the mat. Every inhalation, lift up tall. Every exhalation, just think about that twisting action. And maybe even twisting farther if you can. Good, just inhale, release. Good, just straighten out both legs. If you had a bolster under your hips, you could maybe move that underneath your knees or a rolled up blanket, towel, and we'll come into Shavasana. All right, we're just gonna relax. So just laying back, make sure that you're as comfortable as possible. Good, and if I come out of the shot, I apologize, but I'm just laying on my back. Palms are facing up, and your feet are nice and soft. Take a couple of deep breaths. Just feel the effects of your practice. And if you like, when you're ready, you can close your eyes. Now just allow your body to sink down into the mat, into the pillow beneath you. Feel your toes and feet totally relaxing. Your ankles, lower legs, and knees soften. Your upper legs and hips, low back, low belly are soft and relaxed. Feel the rest of your back, your spine, relaxing and softening, your belly and chest. Gently lifting with your inhale and falling with your exhale. Soften your shoulders, release any tension between your shoulder blades. Your arms and hands are heavy. Relax your fingers. And then just bring attention to your neck. Feel the neck softening and let your head become completely heavy. Soften your jaw, your temples, your eyebrows and eyelids. And relax your forehead all the way up to the top of your head. The whole scalp softens, so your entire body is completely relaxed. Good. Now you can stay here for as long as you like, just to enjoy that feeling of softness and relaxation. When you feel ready, you can gently open your eyes, maybe wiggle your fingers and toes. You can bend your knees when you're ready, and just simply roll to your side and come back to a comfortable seated position. And again, happy Mother's Day. I hope you have a good day. And thanks for doing yoga with me. This was fun. Have a great weekend.